What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Full 90. It is once again time for Champions League predictions, and I want to say a massive shout out to all of you. We gained 100 new subscribers since the last episode, so we are now 150 away from 25,000. Also, here are the winning accumulators from the Patreon since the last episode. You can join using the link up there. Just type that into your browser or click the link in the description. We currently have the 2-day Mega Sixfold, which continued from yesterday, which still hasn't ended yet. So if you're watching this video in time, you can back Tottenham and Fiorentina to win to join those that have backed all 6 of them here. We had the Sunday treble, Celtic to win, Villa, West Ham, both teams scoring over 2.5 goals, and Barcelona to win. And then I offered an alternative treble using 3 other fixtures. We had Roma, Atlanta to win, and then both teams scoring over 2.5 goals in the Bundesliga game between Köln and Borussia Mönchengladbach. We had an 8-fold winner in the DMs of Patreon, so those are the 8 teams there. The double chance underdogs double, I did a completely separate post for it. I said that basically I thought Wolves would do fine against Bournemouth, and I thought Chelsea would get a point at least against Arsenal, and it just so happened it was 2-2. And then we have the high odds Premier League double, Liverpool and 4.5 goals. We predicted they'd win 2-0. Man City to win and both teams to score. The light work winners treble as well, City, Newcastle and Manchester United. So here on the screen are all the members that have joined the Patreon. If you want to get your name on this screen and get a shout out in every single video, then click the join link in the description by going to patreon.com/thefull90. And here on the screen are the people that have also decided to support me on YouTube. You get a lot of the tips that I send over on Patreon, not all of them, but a lot of the tips that I send over on Patreon. That is Murta Gunas, Justin Casey, Schubert, Otamanda, Richard Hughes, Chris Banjo, Bobby Murray, K-Click, Japheth Brander, and Amunike Valentine, all of which have joined the channel supporting me since the last episode. The reason I can't give all the tips on YouTube membership, the reason I can't give all the tips on the YouTube community tab like I can on Patreon is because I can access Patreon from my phone, whereas YouTube I can only access from my computer. So if I'm not at home, I can't do it. But on Patreon, I've got my phone. You can message me on my phone. So it's the better place to go and be. We're currently doing very well. We're in nearly the top 100 of the UK for predicting the Champions League fixtures, and nearly in the top 500 in the world. So long may it continue. I've got a tip for each and every single game, a free tip for all of you for the Champions League fixtures. First up, it's going to be Galatasaray up against Bayern Munich. Galatasaray, fantastic results so far. If you look, you've got the draw here. That was against Copenhagen 2-2. I believe they came from behind there. But the win against Manchester United, Bayern Munich, they beat Copenhagen. They beat Man United. They're going to beat Galatasaray. Galatasaray probably going to score 3-1 to Bayern Munich. Instead of Bayern Munich at 1.43, we've gone for Bayern Munich and both teams to score at 2.6. After this, Internazionale, Inter Milan up against FC Salzburg. I'm going to go for a 2-0 win. My tip is Inter Milan win to 0 at 2.1. If you're not super confident on that, obviously Salzburg in the past have been quite free scoring. You could consider Inter Milan -1 handicap because that allows for a 3-1 win, whereas Inter Milan win to 0 doesn't allow for that. So there is a thought to be had there, but that is odds of 1.8. Either way, Inter Milan to win here is not particularly great. After this, Manchester United up against FC Copenhagen. I think they're going to win. I think it's going to be quite high scoring. I'm going to go for Man United to win 3-1. The tip is Man United to win and over 2.5 goals at 1.83. That allows for a 2-1. That allows also, though, for a 3-0. I think United should be able to beat Copenhagen quite convincingly. The only thing that I can see ruining this is if United win 2-0. So you could look at Man United -1 handicap if you wanted, which is probably better. I was probably more like 1.92. So Man United -1 handicap could be considered, but I could see this ending 2-1. So just bear that in mind. After this, Sevilla up against Arsenal. I predicted that Arsenal would drop points to Chelsea in a scoring draw, and I get a funny feeling they're going to drop points again here. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw between Sevilla and Arsenal. Sevilla are, well, typically a very good home team. I don't, similar with Chelsea where I didn't expect Arsenal to win, I just don't think Arsenal are going to win this fixture either. So I didn't obviously predict them to lose here to Lens. That was outrageous. I did predict them to beat PSV here. Sevilla, I mean, if I look at my Sevilla predictions, we'll just have a little refresh. So I predicted that both teams would score in the PSV-Sevilla game, and they did. And then in the first week of Champions League predictions, I predicted, if I find it here, I correctly predicted that Sevilla and Lens would draw 1-1. So my Sevilla predictions have been pretty spot on. And I'm going to go for another 1-1 draw here between Sevilla and Arsenal, which isn't terrible for Arsenal, to be honest. I think a point would be fine, especially because I think PSV are going to make things interesting, get a win here, and make the basically a point between first and fourth in this group. I'm actually going to go for an away win to PSV. That seems a bit crazy. I know Lens, if they're going to get their points, it's going to be at home, and they are at home here. But I just think PSV are going to get the win. Also, the tip for this game, I've gone for both teams to score, by the way, and the odds are 1.7. Lens PSV, I've gone for a 2-1 win to PSV, but my tip is both teams to score at 1.61. You could look at PSV double chance, which would be odds of probably about 1.6, maybe 1.5. But yeah, I think PSV should be able to get something from this game. My tip is both teams to score. After this, it's Braga up against Real Madrid. I actually think this is going to be another 1-0 to Real Madrid. I think Real Madrid, I mean, did they do it in the Champions League? Yeah, against Union Berlin. I can see that happening again. They battered Union Berlin all game, and then they got a late winner from Jude Bellingham. Who else? So I'm going to go for a 1-0 win to Real Madrid, and my tip is just Real Madrid to win here. I wasn't confident on going Real Madrid and over, Real Madrid halftime, full-time, draw halftime, Real Madrid full-time. I wasn't keen on Real Madrid and both teams to score, so I've just gone for 1-0 to Real Madrid. After this, it is Union Berlin up against Napoli. I think Napoli are going to win this one. 2-1 to Napoli, and my tip is Napoli to win at 1.92. I think the odds are there. I like the value, so I'm going for that one. After this, Benfica up against Real Sociedad. I'm giving Benfica the benefit of the doubt. Portuguese teams, a lot of their form comes from the home ground. I think the likes of Porto and Sporting, they're just better at home. Benfica are a good team, but Sociedad, they're doing all right. They're doing all right, so I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw, and my tip is both teams to score at 1.8. I could see a draw here, to be honest. I think Sociedad are really, really good, so yeah, I think they're going to be able to at least get a point away from home in what should be quite a tricky fixture. After this, it's Feyenoord up against Lazio. I've gone for a high-scoring game here. I've gone for a score draw. I'm going to go for a 2-2. I think both teams are going to score, so my tip is both teams to score and over 2.5 goals at 1.95. I think the odds are really good, and I think it could go 2-1 either way. This is one of those fixtures I don't know who's going to win. I could see Lazio winning, so these odds are a little bit crazy. If you go for Lazio double chance, that might be odds of around 2, so could be worth a shout. But then again, Feyenoord, they are a good team, so I would look at goals. I'd stay away from the result. After this, Barcelona up against Shakhtar Donetsk. I'm going to go for a 3-0 win to Barcelona. My tip is Barcelona -1 at 1.57, just because I know Shakhtar, they are capable of scoring. They scored when they lost to Porto. They beat Royal Antwerp. I think they could score. Barcelona, they've had low-scoring games. Typically, they've got Porto 1-0. They beat Atletico Bilbao over the weekend 1-0, which we tipped. Obviously, 5-0 against Antwerp. It's just Antwerp. They're not very good. So I have thought about win to 0, but in case Shakhtar score and it's 3-1, I've gone for Barcelona -1 to cover both those outcomes. But if you want to look at Barcelona win to 0, probably about 1.8, 1.9, consider getting on that. After this, Celtic up against Atletico Madrid. I don't know why Celtic's odds are always so skewed. I mean, this game here, we predicted Lazio to win, and that was odds of about evens, and I can see the same thing happening here. Celtic are not Champions League level, so I'm going to predict a 2-1 win to Atletico Madrid, and my tip is Atletico Madrid to win at 1.91. They're better than Celtic. Most teams in this competition are. After this, it's PSG up against AC Milan. AC Milan, I believe they lost to Juventus. Had a red card at 0-0 and then couldn't hold on to the lead, or to the draw, I should say. So for this one, I want to say PSG win this game. I've got, you know what? Yeah, I'll go 2-1. I've got 2-1 at the Parc des Princes. I originally had 1-1. I think I put 2-1 originally, then I made it 1-1, but I'm going back to 2-1. My tip, however, works both ways. I'm going to both teams to score at 1.7, but I would also consider PSG to win at 1.7 as well. After this, it's Newcastle against Borussia Dortmund. Newcastle's recent results. You've got the 8-0 against Sheffield United. They then beat Manchester City. They then beat PSG. They slapped everyone else up, and they drew 2-2 with West Ham. That's the only sort of non-win they've got recently, and they've been absolutely phenomenal. So I am going to go for a 2-1 win to Newcastle at St. James's Park. I think Dortmund will score, but yeah, I don't see why Newcastle don't win this. So my tip is Newcastle to win at 1.71. You could look at Newcastle and both teams to score. Do whatever you like. After this, RB Leipzig up against Red Star Belgrade. I'm keeping it simple. I thought about going 4-0. I'm going to go for a 3-0 win to RB Leipzig. My tip is RB Leipzig and over 2.5 goals at 1.47. You could, that allows for a 2-1 really. You could go for RB Leipzig -1 handicap at probably about 1.6, 1.7, a little bit higher odds. I think they're going to win quite comfortably at home, so I'm going for that. After this, it's Young Boys up against Manchester City. I'm going to give Young Boys a goal because Man City keep conceding, but I'm going to go for a 3-1 win to Manchester City, and my tip is Man City to win and both teams to score. I think that is the case. I think that'll happen. Not as confident as Man City to win both teams to score as it was against Brighton, and they did get that, and I did tip that. You would have seen that in my Premier League double if you looked at my accumulators at the beginning of this video a lot closer. but I'm going to go for it again here. And then Royal Antwerp up against Porto. I'm going to go for a 1-0 win, and my tip is Porto to win at 1.99. Just like Celtic, I think Royal Antwerp are not of the level of this tournament, so there should be a free 3 points for everyone else in this competition. So that is what I'm going for there. So that is going to do it for my Champions League Week 3 predictions. If you did enjoy this video, please do drop a like. Subscribe, as I said, to join us on the road to 25,000 subscribers. You can get exclusive members, tips, and accumulators if you click the Patreon link in the description and join over there. And I'll see you for my Premier League predictions very soon.